we are burning some bushings. It's a nice day out, so I was able to have the garage door open. It's kind of tricky. Ow. Just trying to roast these bushings out, and then I can clean out the casing and press in the new ones. We went to put the rear end on here, and forgot about these. Looked under there, I was like, shit. And sure enough, they're pretty toasted. Dry rotted to hell. This is actually catching pretty quick. I don't have the fuel tank in here, obviously, so not have to worry about blowing myself up or anything. Well, she's really cooking now. I'm kind of cooking the bottom of the, that's all metal, but I'm getting black shit everywhere. I already pulled the pin out. It's just finishing burning all that rubber on the inside. Still quite a bit in there. Creating quite a bit of smoke. Hopefully this doesn't go in the house and my wife kills me. But yep, I'm gonna keep cooking and go over to the other side. Alright dudes, another day out here in the garage. Mission: get the rear end on the Blazer. These are the bushings that I pressed into the old leaf springs. Found out that that's not where these went. There was no instructions with these or really anything online to figure out how these went. So I was kind of guessing. They did fit in the leaf spring pretty well because I mean it's the same width and everything, but this is the one that's supposed to go up in the frame, and then I believe these, or this piece goes on it like that. It's the only thing that makes sense because this doesn't fit any of the other bushings like that. Now what I did was I had to, looks like I kind of got that one a little bit right in here with the socket, but I pretty much put the leaf springs up here in the press and used a combination of shit, and I ended up pressing them out. It wasn't too bad. So today I finally got that fucking tool again. I almost bought one, but I really don't want to spend over $100 on a tool right now because I've rented this tool probably like 5 or 6 times now. So I'm like, maybe I should just buy one, especially with the press and all the shit that I do. But that I'm not doing that right now. So me and Dad, I didn't film any of this, but me and Dad were working on this, and then I forgot about the rear shackles here like a dumbass, and then I took them off, and sure enough, I can't get any lighting under here right now, but sure enough, the bushing was fucking roasted. We got this one in there. It actually was kind of a bitch because it's a very tight fit in there, but we ended up getting that one, the bolts pressed through and everything and lubed up. Yeah, I had to burn the old bushings out, so now I got to clean out that inner metal casing up in there. Hard to see with it the way it is right now. But I got to take the steel wool, clean that out, and then I'm going to use this, try to figure out an arrangement with this press to press them in. See if I got a, yeah, my garage is a complete mess right now. Hopefully after I get this rear end in, I can clean up a lot of this shit. But yeah, it's all burnt out. As you can see, there's still some shit in there. I gotta clean all that out, either with some light sandpaper or steel wool. Once I get that cleaned out, I don't think I'm gonna be able to put the rod end of the C-press on this side, so I don't know if I'll have room. So I actually might have to have the pressing side coming out that way. I think, yeah, I should have enough room. So I might have to press it on the opposite side, pressing it in. Shouldn't take too much force. I mean, it's just polyurethane. It might make it a little harder because it's compressed inside the frame right there, the way it is, but if I tried to remove that metal casing, it would probably get damaged in the process. So I'm leaving it in. and I'm going to try to press it in with it in the frame. Another tricky part to this is going, after I get the bushing in there, getting the fucking pins in there, which I'll probably use the C-press too for that, or the ball joint press. I just call it C-press, C, and it presses, whatever. But I'm gonna have to get those in there. Should be fun. I'm gonna use a combination of C-press and probably some of this shit. I don't know. I'll figure it out. One way or another it'll go in. I gotta fuck with this grease shit again. Yay. I hate this shit. It's so damn sticky, like it doesn't come off. I'll probably use the ones that I didn't bang on. You know, these freshies right here. Yeah, you see this is a big mess. I'm gonna clean it up after I get this on there, but that's about where we're sitting. It's gonna be, once I get these bushings in, and then get this one connected in the front like I have on the other side, I'm gonna have to figure out how to lift the rear by myself and get it onto the perches on the leaf springs. That's gonna be fun. I got this jack, and I went and stole my dad's jack. We have the same exact jack, so. But it was not wanting to balance when we tried doing it with one. It wasn't wanting to balance on the hog head. Like it almost fell off and knocked the jacks out. Kind of scared me, so I'm probably going to put it on the tubes and lift it up that way. And then I realized the weight of the front of the hog head there is going to make it want to go down. I might try to use a combination of a strap on the frame underneath the nose of it there, and just take it little by little and raise it up until I get it where I need it. It's gonna be tricky, but we'll figure it out. Well guys, I got it cleaned out and pressed in there. Didn't even use that. I literally just fucking put my hand on it and pressed it in. Like, it was that simple. I'm actually pretty shocked that it was that easy. I did grease the fuck out of it, so that probably helped. But, wow. Okay. So, now we just have to, well, I gotta lube this first, but now I just gotta press that in. Probably will use the press for this part, because this bastard is definitely gonna be tight going in. So, we'll see what happens. I was thoroughly shocked. I'm going to try to get this one started by hand like I just did with that. Because that's all I was doing. I was just trying to get it started and see how far it'd go by hand. And it just went all the way. And I'm like, oh. As far as this little piece goes, it's not really, I mean, it fits on there. But, I don't know how well you guys can see that, but it's kind of, sticking out, protruding way too much. So, I mean, the stock ones didn't have this big piece on the end like that, so probably not going to use that. I think it'd be fine without it, to be honest. The bracket, I did test fit it on there, and it fit. It fit pretty snugly, so I really don't think I'm going to worry about this piece. I mean, the stock one was, on that end, it didn't have this extra outer edge, so really don't see why this would need it. I think it'll be alright. Ended up just using this giant ass C-clamp here to push that pin in, and it worked pretty good. I had the pin of the bushing up against here, and then I used this race and put it right there and just had it pressed right on the bushing, but it worked really well. You don't really have to worry about like not pressing on the bushing when you're pushing the pin in, so, but yeah, it went in pretty smoothly, really easily, surprisingly, and worked really well. Didn't even need that fucking tool I just spent $250 on to rent that I now I have to make another drive for to return, so. Well, I got them on, both sides. I haven't tightened down the bolts yet. I just put the bolt through and put the nut on there. I'm probably going to coat the part that goes through that inner sleeve and anti-seize, so just so those don't seize up there. Probably going to do that for every sleeve on this whole thing, is put anti-seize in all of those. So I heard that you're supposed to torque them with the tires on the ground, so I'll probably do that. For now, I'll probably get them snug and then drop it down and just, torque them down. I have to look up the torque specs, but I need to get this leaf spring. Next step would be getting this leaf spring hooked up on there, getting that ready to go, which is going to be fun. And then the next step would be trying to figure out how I'm going to lift this up with 2 jacks, the leaf springs, all this shit. Trying to lift it up into position so I can mount it to the springs. And then I'll have to, before even mounting it, I'll have to put the bolt through on the leaf springs there on the bottom, on the shackles. So yeah, should be fun. Probably gonna take me a few days just because I don't have help and stuff. So my only problem with lifting up by the tubes is I know it's gonna tilt down on me. Hopefully I don't walk off. I don't want to fuck the pinion up, so I might have to go really slow and try to keep it from doing that. Alright, we'll see. Alright guys, here's my method of madness here. Got the pinion held up on this jack stand. I have 2 fucking jacks. I had my wife help me jack up this side while I was on the other side. We went up really slow, let the front droop down, and then once we got high enough, I had her watch this, and I spun it very slowly and carefully so I didn't walk off the jacks, and put that jack stand up underneath the nose and held it up. Now, see, my spring perch is right here, so I can already tell you the axle has to go way further. I think it actually lines up with this bump stopper, ideally. So I'll have to figure out that when we get there. Right now I'm worried about keeping this lifted and getting the leaf springs in. Right now, looks like I need to take the leaf spring more that way. I have not tightened. Well, I tightened it somewhat, but I didn't tighten it all the way on that top bolt on the leaf spring shackle. So I'm trying to move it forward just so I can get this hole to line up. And this is a tight fit in there. Pretty much have to hammer it in and try to get the holes line up. But what I'm thinking as this lifts up, as the leaf spring lifts up, it's going to want to go that way a little bit just because of the way the leaf spring's bent. Now, I realize I'm definitely going to have to jack up even more because once I lift that up into place, I'm going to end up walking lifting the rear end up off the jacks, and it's going to be a pain in the ass. So I'm probably going to have to go even higher, and I'm already right there. So probably a couple more pumps on each side to get it to clear, and then I'll probably like I said, after I get both the leaf springs in, then I'm going to try to actually put the rear diff onto the springs. I do have this little jack right here, help me hold up this side. I don't have any help, but this is definitely better if you have 2 guys or 2 people or whatever to help do this. But that wasn't too bad. I kind of hammered on the shackle a little bit and got it lined up because that's a tight fit back there too. Obviously I got my polyurethane bushings in, so that's all good. Now just gotta try to get the front Caltracs. All that gray shit, that's all anti-seize. I'm gonna have to clean it up afterwards, but trying to get these on, you have to like grease everything with anti-seize. not grease, but you have to cake everything with that, including the bolts and all that shit. I'm using original hardware here because mine was kind of rusted, but it wasn't that bad, so kind of rolling with it. But all right, I'm gonna get this up in here. Like, it's kind of hard for me to film all this. Like, my phone does not have infinite hard drive space or battery, so if I was to record this, it'd be sitting in one position and just have it recording for like a fucking hour while I'm sitting here trying to do this, and then me try to edit all that out. But so I'm kind of just going step by step here, recording and showing you guys what I did. All right, I think I got you guys set up good there on my thing. I'm not sure how well you're gonna be able to see this. Figured I'd try to get this on camera. Just tapping the leaf spring into position here. My family is so loud. Well, that looks pretty fucking close already. Shit. All right. I think we got it right on the money. Now, on this, like I said, I'm reusing the bolts. This bolt actually looks pretty good compared to the other ones. Yeah. I'm not sure if you're supposed to put Loctite on the threads or not, but fuck it. I guess we'll find out if they come loose. And I just need to put some anti-seize all over this motherfucker so it don't seize up on me in there in the bushing. I think they recommend doing this even if you're not doing like crazy shit like I'm doing. You're just doing a stock replacement. So, because I watched a few videos where guys actually, when they were trying to remove these bolts and the shackles, they were actually seized in there and they had to cut them off. So luckily my Blazer is not that rusted as the ones in those videos. And she's got some surface rust, but she ain't got crazy amount of rust that those things had. Now I'm not putting it on the threads, I'm just putting it on the sleeve portion. Definitely don't want anti-seize on the sleeve portion. You don't want it to come loose. On these, you always have the nut on the outer side, at least from what I saw. I'm not sure if that's entirely correct, but that's what I saw and that's what I'm doing. Bam! Give me a little bit of shit there. Wasn't perfectly lined up like I thought it was. Looked pretty good by eye. It's a tight fit. I thought about cleaning up these threads a little more, but I'm not that worried. Alright, that bolts in. And now before I go actually putting a rear diff on the springs, I'm probably going to snug those. Just snug. I'm not I'm gonna tighten them down like crazy. It's not like I'm driving the shit down the road right now, so you're supposed to torque it with everything on the ground, like with the wheels on and everything. I'm assuming that's because if you don't, your shit's gonna be all kinds of fucky. Like it's gonna be tightened and probably not be the right height and all kinds of shit. So, I got that one in. Got that motherfucker lubed up. Hopefully it's the last time I fuck with this ACs. Let's get this bastard up in there. Oh, shit. Kind of awkward. We're getting there. Almost. I don't know why my dad was having so much trouble with this. Just need to do a little bit more. Now comes for the tricky part. Hopefully, get the fucking bolt in there. Not quite. Almost seems like I went up too much. It's a little tricky getting that through there. I'm not gonna lie. It's not that bad though. Oh. Alright. I think I got that all the way through there now. She's tight, like a toy. Very tight. All right. So this should be fun. I gotta figure out if I can get the rear end on here. Let's see what happens. Alright. Let's try lowering these down. probably do it in baby steps. So it stinks like rubber over here on this other side. Alright. About centered up with the perch now. I think we're gonna take the jacks out of the equation now. Sounds good to me. Alright, so I think I might actually have to put the jack back under there and use it to get the right height on the pinion, because this jack that I'm using is a little too tall and it's wanting to hold it at a fucked up angle here. I thought I'd have more leeway on the springs here. So it almost seems like the springs are kind of squished in, probably from me moving around and stuff. But I don't really want to move side to side. Alright guys, so I figured this was going to happen when we widen the holes for these. These are 9/16 U-bolts. Looks like we didn't come out far enough. We got the spread good, but it didn't. The bolts aren't coming out enough. Try to get a good angle of this. See how they're a little, like the tops up here are kind of spread out more than they are down here. Down here, I feel like it's too snug. It's actually getting a leaf spring a little bit. You can see there. So that tells me we definitely need to go out. I mean, not too much. We got it pretty close, but I figured that was going to happen, that we were going to have to adjust those holes once we had everything sandwiched. Which I'm probably not doing tonight because I'm running out of time. So might work on that tomorrow. And then after we get these plates and U-bolts on, we can get the shocks in and get the Caltrac bar in, and it'd be about ready to go. The parking brake thing, the reason why I said I might have to take out the axles, because it has to go in between these two pads down in there. And with this thing on there, I don't know if I'm going to be able to, like, well, I might be able to. I get my finger in there. It comes through the back. There's rubber boot. And then the parking brake actuator hangs out right here. And then, well, I snipped those. I'm going to have to get new ones, but it comes up and hooks on right here, and then it hooks onto the actuator, which then hooks on here, and then it spreads the pads whenever it's pulled and applies to the drum. So yeah, I already knew I was going to have to adjust them. I might be able to do it without pulling the axle out, which would be cool. I have the actuators up there. I'm just not 100% on the orientation that they go in. So I'm kind of like, I need to do my research. That was like a little thing I was going to worry about after I got the rear diff on here. So right now, I might try to get that other one seated. And maybe try to see what it looks like, but I can already tell you. Let me go out on those holes further, because there's definitely a wider spread up at the top than there is at the bottom, and it seems like the U-bolts are kind of hugging the spring a little too hard, because we probably did actually go, like whenever we were using the angle die grinder there, things kind of hard to control, and so we were trying not to go anywhere. You don't want to go in at all when you're doing this. You actually want to go out of 45, like out this way. These brackets were made for a stock S10 rear end, which I don't know why somebody would put Caltracs on a stock rear end. Maybe if they have a ZR2 rear or something, or a G80 that can actually hold the power. But I feel like this should just like, I know Calvert, if you buy directly from them, you can get them, and you can order them already adjusted. But I didn't. I ordered through Jigs, so I have to deal with this. I probably should have just ordered through Calvert, but whatever. You learn from my mistakes. So probably get that other one seated on there, call it a night, and come back tomorrow and widen these holes, and then hopefully we'll have this whole fucking thing squared away. Alright, boys, I think today is the day that we finally get everything buttoned up. I adjusted the spring plates, got them looking nice and snug and straight on there. I gotta lop that extra off of all these bolts. I can't really get a wrench on there because of the way the spring plate is shaped, so I definitely need to lop them off so I can get a socket on there. It's probably like a 21. Still don't have any of these bolts torqued down, or they're barely on there. The nuts are barely on the bolts, so I was talking to my brother. He said I should probably Loctite all of it, which sounds like a good idea to me. That's kind of something I was wondering about. I can't torque them yet, so you're supposed to torque with the weight of the vehicle on the ground, and I'm not ready for that yet. So, but right now I'm trying to get the U-bolts tightened down as much as I can and get these lopped off, and then probably get the Caltrac bar on there, and then I'll be dropping the vehicle. Well, before I can drop it down on its own weight, I need to get the brakes on. So that's what I'm about to do right now. Round 2 of widening the holes with the right rotors. I double checked the hub, and it's pretty spot the fuck on. So now that I have the right rotors, I can open up the holes, get the rotors on there, and then get the calipers on. So we're gonna go ahead and do that, so it's all ready to go to get the so whenever I do have everything tightened up on these U-bolts, I can put the fucking tires on, lower it to the ground. Well, I'll probably snug the bolts before I do that, but I need to squirt some Loctite on them before I snug them. And then once they're snug, we'll lower it down on the ground, and then whenever it's on the ground, we'll go ahead and torque them and be pretty much ready to go. Well, I still have to put the shocks on and shit, the shocks and the Caltrac bar, but that's what we got that for. But let's go ahead and drill out these rotors so we can get the fucking brakes on. That's pretty much what we're doing, guys. Just opening up the holes to 3/4 of an inch using this stepper bit. Works pretty well. I just squirted some WD-40 on there, and trick to it is, I don't even have it bolted down or anything. I just use my big fat beer belly to hold it in place, but just slow and steady. And it actually doesn't take that long, but slow and steady is the key to it. You don't want to just fucking, because then it'll get caught and then you'll fling a rotor on your feet or something. So, well guys, this is where we're at. Fucking went to start lopping down these after I just snugged the U-bolts right now. I haven't torqued them, but with the spring plate in there and everything, kind of hard to get any sort of wrench or anything on there. I snugged them up with my little crescent wrench and made up the difference in the space between the top of the U-bolt and the housing. And I got the rotors drilled out. They're on there. That's just temporary, obviously. Just getting them on there. I was going to lop off the fucking ends of the U-bolts so I can get a socket on there and take them home. But my battery on my Sawzall ran out. I thought it was charged. I got these Moroso 60-degree conical seats, lug nuts on there, just kind of holding the rotor on there. Now I did notice this side seems fine. Like, I was worried about the dust shield rubbing the back of the rotor, but I think it's actually this side that I'm gonna have to fuck with. Like I said, I'm gonna use a pry bar, try to bend that dust shield back away from the rotor. Actually, I don't know if it's touching or not. It doesn't feel like it. But you definitely don't want your dust shield rubbing on your rotor. Trust me, I've done that before, being a dumbass on my truck, and learned my lesson there. It's one of those things, you're working on something really hard, and then you come to the simple stuff like brakes, and you get ahead of yourself. But these are hub-centric, so even though I widened the holes, it's still going to be centric to the hub of the axle there. So that's good. Alright guys, so I lopped off all the U-bolts. Just got done torquing them to 100 foot-pounds. May go more. I haven't decided yet. It's a nice day outside, so for once. So it's pretty cool. I'm going to have the garage door open. Next step, get the shocks in, and then I'm going to put Loctite on all these leaf spring bolts back here and back on the shackles and get those snug. And I was reading the instructions on this Caltracs shit. So now that I got the U-bolts compressed on there, I need to get the shocks on. And then it says compress the suspension before attaching transfer links. So I need to have the full weight of the vehicle on the axle when I do that. Alright guys, shocks are in, bolted in. There was some slack there, so I kind of threw an extra washer in there. It's galvanized, but whatever. That's what I had. Got the brake calipers on, the pads on, everything. Got the U-bolts torqued down. Now we just gotta back those nuts off, put some Loctite, get them snug. And then we'll be dropping it on the ground and torquing the bolts. But after we get the bolts torqued, we'll probably raise it back up to put the Caltrac bar on. I want to get the suspension set before I even start fucking with that. So you know, everything's brand new and it hasn't been set on the ground yet. I'd rather get a good baseline before I even start threading the bar on. But yeah, I think I'm supposed to have a slight air gap right here on that thing between the pin and the leaf springs. So I might see what happens here, because I feel like whenever I put it on the ground, some funky things are probably going to happen. Like the shit's going to move around. So I might have to readjust this front part again. Might have to get a pry bar in there and kind of lift it up a little bit or something. We'll see. But you don't want it directly on there. It's gonna be a really rough ride if you do that. As far as those parking brake actuators, I was trying to get it in there with the axle in and everything, and needless to say, it wasn't happening. I don't even have the parking brake cables, the new ones yet, or the adapter brackets to hook onto these yet, so we'll worry about that later. And I still need to run the brake lines and change the T hose on the rear, so the brake lines and stuff I'll do later. I'm just trying to get the rear back on the ground right now and get the suspension on, and then I'll go back and do brake lines. It ain't nothing to pop a couple wheels off and jack it back up and do that. My brake lines really didn't look that bad, so I don't know how much of it I'm actually going to replace. I mean, all my lines were looking pretty damn good. See if I can get a shot of that. Like, I still have the old fuel lines and fuel filter and shit, but yeah, I mean, it's hard to see with the lighting, but the fuel lines and stuff, there's like no rust on them. It was from North Carolina, so like there's no rust on them whatsoever. Doesn't mean there won't be eventually, but I'm trying to save time and money here. I'll be so happy to get it off this fucking jank ass jack set up here and have the rear sitting on the ground make me feel better. I got my wheel chocks ready because I don't have a parking brake. So, alright guys, I got all the bolts snug, got the tires on. I did notice right away that the hub on the axle does not come out enough to actually allow the wheel to lock in, so it's probably not hub centric, or it's not centered on that. So these wheels probably won't work. I need to get lug centric wheels, which is what I was planning on doing anyways, but I would not drive down the road with these wheels. They're not centric, but since my jack stands are set up as such, I decided to, and I had both jacks, I decided to put them both under there. Put them on right there. I'm going to jack it up until it lifts up off the jack stands here on each side, and then let her sit on the ground, and then we'll torque. Stupid fucking side-by-sides. People go crazy over those out here. So the suspension's just kind of, it's not fully seated. I can already see the shackles moving. Once I get this set in place though and I torque it, then I'm going to put those bars on. There's another one. They're real cool. But it almost seems like the tire's sticking out just a little bit more than what it did before. I'm kind of worried about it hitting the fucking fender lip there. So, I mean, well, if I could see, I don't remember it sticking out like that. Could be that not everything's set in place yet. Alright guys, I kind of forgot to record, but I got the Caltracs bars on. I still need to tighten the bolt down there on that bracket. Tried to grease that with NECs and stuff. This bolt was already tightened for me. Basically putting these rods on here is pretty easy. You tighten it as far as it goes on each eye, on each end, and then once you back the nut all the way off, or back the nut all the way that way, and it's one side's reverse thread, so literally you have that side disconnected, and as you turn it, that eye will move into the bracket. You just take the bar with your hand and just turn it until that bolt will slide through. And then you slide the bolt through, get the nut on there, then take the nuts down to right here to keep it from the bar from moving more. And also you gotta pay attention to, you gotta pay attention to where your where your pin is at on the leaf spring. I got like a 1/4 inch gap. I set mine a little bigger, preliminary. I might have to adjust that later. But I'm gonna be street driving, so I didn't want it too tight. I heard that gives you a pretty rough ride. And there's the other side over there. I still need to tighten the bolts in the back on the back brackets, and I might have to figure out something for tightening these nuts, because I was trying to use a little crescent wrench, but it can't really get in there very well. And I'm starting to see why Calvert Racing sells the special wrenches for this job, for tightening those. So, but I digress. I feel like I can find a wrench or something that'll fucking work with it. The thing is, like, whenever you try to turn it, it hits the bracket, so it has to come up. And the Blazer is sitting pretty damn low now. It's hard to remember how it was before, but I can tell right away that it is definitely lower. Yeah, and you saw the bar to spring clearance there. I don't have the bar smacking the spring or anything, so that's good. I do have all my leaf spring bolts Loctited and torqued to 92 foot-pounds, that one, and the back 3 on the shackle. And yeah, pretty much ready to go. I still have some things here and there to do back here. Brake line, the brake hose, the bleeder hose, or the vent hose, I mean, for the rear diff. I do have a little valve. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to fucking get in there. You see it sticking up right there. It's kind of like bullshitted threaded in there. I might have to like take some plumber tape and wrap it around there and tighten it, or redo that. So, and then I just gotta put a hose on that little valve or whatever the fuck you want to call it, and then like run it up somewhere else so it doesn't get water and shit in it and send it into the diff. So I think we're gonna call it a video there. I got the rear end sitting on the ground and everything. Did about as much as I could do right now, other than tightening those Caltracs. Like I said, I need that special wrench. But I have my hood on. I had a bunch of metal shavings on the floor, so I wore this and put my hood up so I didn't get a bunch of metal shavings in my hair and shit. But yeah, I mean, that's about all I can do right now. I don't have brake line on me, and I kind of want to do all the brake lines. That's gonna be a whole day in itself, fucking with all that. I mainly wanted to get to this point where I had the rear diff installed. Oh, that's another thing I need to do. I need to write this shit down so I don't forget. I need to put, now that it's all settled in, I need to put fucking diff fluid in the diff and then put the drain plug back in. Yeah, that'd be really bad, wouldn't it? Just go out there and romp on it dry. I feel like when you're doing a project like this, if you're leaving off, you need to like, I'm going to write this shit down before I go in, but you got to keep track of what you did, because like I feel like there's so many little things here and there when you're doing shit like this that it's a good possibility you could fucking forget. And that probably wouldn't be good. So obviously running a dry diff, you probably wouldn't make it very far before that fucker blew up. Hopefully mine don't, but pretty stoked, guys. I like how it's sitting already. It's sitting pretty low, and looks like the tire's tucked in a little bit more after I dropped it down. Hopefully tomorrow I'll try to button up the little stuff back here, but I kind of want to put the rest of the shit on the rear on hold and try to get the front wheels back on the ground. I don't know why, but I'm just obsessed with being able to roll it if I need to, like roll it out of the garage or something. Then I could clean up the garage and then go from there, roll it back in. Because I just got so much shit in here, and the way this Blazer's sitting, you know, my garage is just a fucking, it's a nightmare. Anyways, I'm rambling, so I think tomorrow, yeah, I'm gonna plop that engine in there and start trying to figure out the front end, try to get the front wheels on the ground. And I'm gonna write this shit down, make sure I don't forget. I gotta pull all this bullshit back in the garage. But alright, sorry I couldn't catch everything. You know, I kind of forgot. You know, started getting busy, and I didn't record as much as what I wanted to. I was kind of focused in, making sure I was doing everything right. You know, really trying not to fuck shit up. So it's kind of serious. You know, if I fuck this up, start driving it down the road, you know, it'd be the end of me, or whoever's riding with me, or whoever I hit. You know. So definitely want to make sure I got all my I's and dotted all my I's and crossed all my T's. But anyways, I'll quit rambling. Like, comment, subscribe. Helps me out. Helps me get noticed on YouTube. You know, I'm just starting off here, so I don't have very many views and shit. But more's coming. We're getting there, guys. It's starting to come together, and I'm getting really excited. So stay tuned.